Hello, my friends. I have a little bit of a different video for you today. I know I typically just open up a lot of boxes and buy a lot of new art supplies and show them to you. But I have decided to start showing a little more of my artwork, what I do like on my daily basis, a lot of it which you don't see. I do post some of it on Instagram, which I'll have that down below if you want to check that out. Now, why I decided to start doing this is because typically I don't show how-tos so much because I'm not a professional artist. But I've realized here lately you don't have to be a professional artist to help somebody else learn or show a new technique that might help somebody out. So if you are looking to start doing some artwork yourself, drawing, painting, whatever it is, I say go ahead and do it. Give it a try. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining today. I know I have a lot of new followers, so hey, my name is Tony, and we're going to get right into playing with some pencils. Okay, before I get started, I'm going to talk about the materials that I'm using today. I say I'm doing just a simple little graphite drawing, and as you can see, I've got out half of my arsenal here. Now, I used mostly actually for my first little sketch, my beloved Blackwing pencil. I used it. I will use it throughout this drawing, but that was what I did most of my little sketching with. And I believe I also used my little mechanic drafting pencil. But I also brought out this guy here because the lead is a little thicker. I have my little slice pen. This is a ceramic tip. You guys see that? Well, this can make little gouges and scratches in the paper, which might help me do fine fur marks later on. I got that out. This is just a soft eraser. I have my Tombow Mono, which is great for little details. I've got out my electric one if I'm really trying to erase something big. I always have a little brush nearby to get all those pesky crumbs away from your artwork. Now, I included the sharpener. I don't use this a whole lot. I actually have my big sharpener off to the side, but I wanted to mention it because it is a supply. Oh, I forgot. My little General's kneaded eraser. That's a big one too. I used some masking fluid on this project. Peblo, whatever, drawing gum, and I use these little silicone, I don't know what these are, these little silicone tools. That's how I put on my masking fluid, so you're not ruining a brush, and then when you're done, you just peel it right off that silicone tip. Okay, so to get some of my background effects, I could just buy some powdered graphite, but I just don't want to. So I use these Create a Color blocks. This is a 2B, and I just scrape, make my own graphite dust, and then I work it into the background with this little brush. It's like a little stippling stencil brush to make just some blurry effects in the background. I also used my Lyra Graphite 2B Chunky Monkey here for more of the background work. There is some white in this picture and some flower details that are all white. I'm going to be using my Copic Opaque White, and I have a very tiny brush. Let's try to, very tiny little guy for the fine fur I'm going to be making. This is just a little, I don't know, it's like a dental tool that I use to stir up my Copic White and put it in my little cup here while I'm working. You always need some sanding paper close by. A plethora of fresh blending stumps. Now for the meat and potatoes of this drawing, I have chosen the Staedtler Mars Lumograph. We have my 8B out and my 12B. I also have my Derwent graphic drawing set out. The majority of the pencils I've used thus far, and remember I am filming this when I'm halfway done, I've got out my 6B, my 4B, and my H. Right, and this is why you're here, to see me draw this wonderful dog. This is my coworker and friend Kayla's dog. This is Cletus. I think he's wonderful, and I thought this was just a great picture. I'll insert the original one up here. Now what I have done is I have printed this out in black and white so I can get my values down. I also used the grid method to sketch this out. Sometimes I use a light board, sometimes I go ahead and use a grid method. Now this paper I'm using is pretty thick. I just had to old school it and sketch it out on my own. Now, some of the steps I've taken thus far is I used my masking fluid to mask some of these flowers because I didn't know how dark I was going to get my background. And Cletus's little paw here and some other little tidbits. I've already done my background and taken it off at this point, but here are some steps along the way. And now for the background, I talked about it. I used that Create a Color block, and I kind of made my own dust, which I fluffed around to make a nice background. This is an illustration board, and it's an off-white color, and I'm aware of that. But yeah, I'm having some problems getting some nice detail in there. None of the white pencils I had or the white pastel was working, so that's why I broke out my white Copic. Now here is an example of what I'm going to be doing later on to get some highlights in there with that Copic white. Now sometimes I can get away with using a white pastel pencil, but this illustration board just isn't having it, so it's okay. We'll get it done somehow, won't we? All right, so I've done most of, sometimes I go grid by grid, and I am to this grid right here. Right where old Cletus's nose is. So now this is just my first basic layer. I'm getting in some details, and I'm starting to build up my values. So don't get irritated right away if it just doesn't. It kind of looks like a mess right away, doesn't it? Until you can get some of your lights and your darks in there to really make things pop. It just kind of looks like a mess like this. All right, so let me zoom you in, and let's get to drawing. Okay, Fizz, you critique the picture, okay? Can you do that for us? Why is there glitter on you? Where'd you get the glitter? What do you think of Cletus's pictures? Huh? What do you think, Fizz? Oh, not amused by the subject matter? Okay. Oh, all right. All right. So this is the time in my project that I actually set this up in my mantle in the natural sunlight, natural light, to kind of tweak this. Now, as much as I would like to make this look exactly like the reference photo, I really can't, because we have a lot of the values in this picture, they're exactly the same. Now, in color, you can tell that this is different. There's greens and shadows back here, but in a black and white photo, it's a little hard. So I'm going to have to tweak my values to make this look right. So the things I'd like to do next, I want to make this a little darker going back. Didn't get that quite dark enough. Where his snout is here, you can't really tell where he ends and the foreground begins, so I want to somehow differentiate this area a little better. I want to make his shadow just a little darker going through here. Now I couldn't, in the reference photo, his shadow is clear back behind here, which is fine in the photo, but in my drawing it just looked like a big blob. So I tightened up his shadow a little bit so you could tell it was a shadow. Those are the things I'm going to tweak next and see if that helps. Here is the finished piece of Cletus. Here's the reference photo. As you can see, you have to tweak it a little bit, take some artistic liberties to make a graphite picture look correct. So Cletus has his own Instagram. I'm going to link that down below. And hey, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It really helps me grow. Give it a thumbs up if you like these kind of videos. Like I said, it's a little new for me, so let me know what you think. I will see you in my next video, guys. Bye.